Good morning, and welcome to 30-Minute Reviews. I am Adam. It is December 1st. We are finally in the month of December of this year, coming to an end. And what we're here to talk about is is Blue Beetle going to come out next year? That's the big question that I have. Because, and if it is it going to be delayed? Or is it going to be just, or is it going to be removed like Batgirl was? And I think we're starting to get our first indications of that. Because right now, CCXP is going on. There are a few major Comic-Cons still yet to come before the end of the year. I think Tokyo still hasn't happened yet. CCXP is going on this weekend, and that's this week. Apparently this week we can get some big news. There are some on-site activations for major movies coming up. Quantumania has one at CCXP. There's one for, what's the other one? The other really big one. The fuck's it called? Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Jesus Christ, what a brain fart. But both of those have these big, things that you can go to. And it's cool. And there are these cool things you can look at. And they're bringing out their stuff. So, DC brings out stuff for The Flash, because The Flash is apparently still coming out next year. They have stuff for Shazam! Fury of the Gods, which is coming out in March. And they have stuff for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, which comes out in a little over a year from now. So it's Christmas Day 2023. So those three things are happening. And they're happening, big time. But nothing indicates there's a Blue Beetle movie coming next year. And if this is going to be your big thing where we're showing you next year's release slate, you would think that your major theatrical release in August would get some attention, considering the movie is shooting or is shot at this point, and we don't know what's going on with it. And look, do I think that next year is going to be a banner year for DC? I'm not going to hold my breath and say they're going to do Disney 2019 numbers between Infinity War or Endgame and Toy Story and all that. I think they get a good amount of money. I think that The Flash will do 800 million. I mean, look, I'm going to be completely honest. I think the Ezra Miller nonsense has permeated into the mainstream to the point where people are going to see his face and see his name in the marketing or see his name on the poster and be like, that's a little fucked up that he's involved. So I think that it's just that kind of thing where it's like, that could hurt it, no matter how good the movie is. And also, I'm not, based on reported plot leaks that I've read, if they're accurate, I'm not super thrilled about what this movie is planning to be. But whatever. It is what it is. There is, Shazam, I think, will do a solid $600 million. I don't think there's anything in Shazam. I mean, unless they start marketing on the back of Wonder Woman, which is, I think they have to start doing relatively soon because, that movie's coming out in March. And we still only have the one trailer for it. But that movie was supposed to come out this month, but it got delayed to avoid bumping into Avatar. And just looking at it that way, I feel like it's kind of... And the other thing with The Flash is in a weird spot, because I don't know if it says that Warner Brothers has no faith in The Flash, or if it says that Warner Brothers has no faith that Indiana Jones 5 will be any good. But they're putting it up against the 50th Indiana Jones movie, which so far has had positive buzz, and I like Mads Mikkelsen's design from the Empire Pictures. But look, I think that there is a broader conversation to be had here, and I think that, we're going to cover a lot of this in the year-end wrap-up, I think. But in reality, I think the issue is what's going on with Blue Beetle. I think there's a solid chance Blue Beetle gets the X. And I think the Blue Beetle's not being advertised because they're still undecided about what to do with it, because the movie's not done yet. And I think once they get a concrete decision one way or the other, they're going to be like, okay, well, we're going to market it or whatever. And I think that's the problem, is that with Gunn taking over, we have, I think it's fairly obvious at this point that there was no unified vision for DC going forward. I think that's a pretty easy to tell situation here. I don't think that, and I've said this for a long time, I think that DC would have worked better if it was Elseworlds, where each comic was kind of related, but not super related. Like, there's a loose continuity, not a strict, like Marvel has this strict continuity where everything is kind of tied together and inextricably bonded to each other, and you're kind of just stuck, no matter if you like what happened before you or not. Where it's like, I heard an example on a podcast where they were talking about, where they were talking about, say they do something, like the reason why Marvel games are not going to be a cinematic universe is that they have too many studios working on it, and they're talking about, what if we do something in one game and another game needs it. We don't want them to be bound by the decisions of another studio when it's not in the best interest of the story. That said, Marvel also has a think tank writers room who puts all this stuff together, so it's not just, each studio isn't doing their own thing. But that does the overt plots. Now, DC, I think, would have been better served if they did a bunch of loosely connected movies that were like, Elseworlds and stuff like that. But at the same time, I don't know what's going on. And if you just look broadly at what's happening, like, look at what the Flash reshoots are doing. I mean, we're getting more of Ben Affleck. We're getting more of other characters, and it's like, look, there was a great comment, or a comment that when I heard it, I was like, oh, the Flash is getting canceled. They're not going to release it, because that's the thing, is like, you need to cut, you're trying to cut billions of dollars in tax and get tax write-offs. I mean, the Flash cost $300 million. So there's $300 million right there. Just don't release that and you're good. But I think that, like, here's the issue with the Flash coming out next year, is that next year may be the last hurrah of the DC universe as we know it. Because I think if Gunn's smart, he's going to pick and choose the parts that work, and he's going to just abandon the rest. But at times that'll be a little weird, I think. Because, like, if Henry Cavill is Superman still, which a lot of people want, and Henry Cavill wants, then what's to say that, like, if he's Superman and then you have a different Batman, like they recast Ben Affleck, like, that looks a little different, I think. The same goes for if they want to keep Black Adam around, or if they want to keep Shazam around, or if they want to keep, like, I would say the time where Shazam came out was the only time I felt like DC was kind of on the right path, because it's like, alright, well, they're letting people do the stories they want to tell with these characters in, using the world the way they want to without feeling tied to it. It's just kind of interesting to me that we're in this situation now where I feel like Blue Beetle's going to get the axe. I don't think this is a delay. I think this is just completely done. There have been no updates on Blue Beetle since Fandom a few years back. There's been no change in production. There's been pictures from set taken by, like, paparazzi and stuff, but that's it. You don't have, production stills. You don't have trailers. You don't have behind-the-scenes stuff. No one's talking about it. And I think the reason for that is DC is just going to axe the movie. I think that, like, the idea that we're going to be dealing with this kind of strange... What's the word I'm looking for here? Like, this kind of strange thing where the release slate reflects there's a movie coming out, but who knows if it's happening. And the other thing is, if I remember correctly, Blue Beetle was not meant for theatrical. Blue Beetle was meant for HBO Max. If it is still coming out on HBO Max, there is a fairly solid chance that it would not be included in these things because it's a streaming release. In the same way that Peacemaker Season 2 is not being featured in these things. Granted, I don't know if they've actually shot a frame of footage yet for Peacemaker Season 2, but with Peacemaker Season 2, they haven't done anything yet. And even if they did, I don't think it would be included in this because this is very theatrically focused. So yeah, I'm interested to see where they're going with this and what the overall plan is. But I don't think that there's necessarily I don't think that we're going to get answers on this until next year. I think this is one of those things where it's like, I think it's going to end up on streaming, if it's going to end up anywhere. Because I don't think that they have the overconfidence in DC films, in this movie going theatrical. Because I think it was designed as a streaming title. But yeah, I mean, look, CCXP is going on, so if any big news happens, we're going to do episodes about it. I was going to do an episode about the 4th episode of the Santa Clauses because I hate myself and, all of my career choices up until this point. But I had a technical issue last night. The same goes for Willow. I had a technical issue last night that, led to things not working properly. So, we'll do it tomorrow. Willow and the Santa Claus episode 4. But it's thrilling. I mean, I haven't heard anything about Willow. That's the weird thing, is that I haven't heard anything positive or negative to be able to say, like, oh, Willow's good, I'm looking forward to watching it, or Willow's bad, I'm dreading watching it. It's just been very meh, and they haven't marketed it either, which is strange. Like, I don't think that Willow has had very much of any marketing going into it. But look, I'm not going to sit here and filibuster just for the sake of filibustering. We'll wrap up there for today. So, look, I think that hopefully we get some cool stuff out of CCXP. I mean, they already had a Star Wars something, and they showed, they confirmed that Bo-Katan is going to be the bad guy in Season 3 of The Mandalorian, so that's cool. Or the antagonist, I guess. I don't know if we'd say she's a bad guy, but she's going to be the antagonist in Season 3 of The Mandalorian, which comes out early next year. They showed another trailer for The Bad Batch, which, that's going to be cool. Having just finished Season 1 of The Bad Batch myself. And then there's also, they had a message from set for The Acolyte, because The Acolyte's currently shooting. I think that was my most anticipated of the announced Star Wars, shows. I wanted to see where that was going. Thankfully, we're going to get our answer soon. According to, who was it? I saw an article, but the picture was, and here's the thing, it's like, all these articles are fucking ridiculous. They put pictures that are loosely affiliated, but not it. It was an article about The Acolyte, and the picture was Daphne Keane. I didn't read the entire article, but she's in the show, X-23 from Logan. They do this, what's it called? What's what we're looking for here? They said that the Acolyte's going to be the first Sith-led show on what's it called? For Star Wars, or the Sith-led anything of Star Wars, which I don't think that's true, because there's been some games and some movies, that have been Sith, and some games and books that have been Sith-led. But, this is going to be the first one that's actually led by a Sith the entire way through, because it's about the rise of the Sith at the end of the High Republic, leading into the fall of the Republic. So I'm looking forward to that a little bit. Hopefully we get more information about that. But we'll wrap up there for today. And until our next episode, have a great rest of your week.